Hello everybody and welcome back to more Hades. Now you might be thinking, oh Zen, you've done so much Hades, why are we playing Hades again? In fact, I have 212 Hades videos uploaded, which is a total of 54 hours of video content. So why do I need any more on the channel? Well, that's because I am not playing on the PC. This is my Xbox. Yeah, I could go home. Look, I'm on the Xbox. Yes, Hades is now available for consoles, including the Xbox, the PlayStation, Nintendo Switch, all that fun stuff. And it comes to, this is the most important thing, Xbox Game Pass as well. So you can, if you have Game Pass, which is stupid cheap and the best deal in video games, go play Hades right this moment. And you should, because Hades was one of the best games in the last decade. That's just full stop, no argument there. Especially including all of the awards that it's won over this last year. So with that said, we're just going to play around through Hades. I'm on the Xbox, like I said. The thing to keep in mind here is this is a fresh game. My saves did not carry over. I didn't do that. I just went through fresh on my Xbox. And I'm about my 4th run through. And we're just going to go as far as we can and see how well we do, and just show you guys what Hades is all about. It's an action RPG, it's a roguelite, it's made by Supergiant Games, one of the best game companies out there.
This mark, almost like a batwing. In the name of Hades, Olympus, I accept this message.
Hey boss, found you. Good. Hermes, at your service. Pleasure. You are the talk of Olympus. Normally I wouldn't get mixed up, but for you, I'll be making an exception. Now come on, we've both got places to be.
So what's going on here? Well, we are Zagreus, the prince of the underworld, and we're trying to escape the underworld. Think, Greek mythology, because we want to just kind of get out of here. Our dad, Hades, is kind of a douchebag, and we're trying to get away. And the Greek gods are trying to help us escape. So Hermes, as you saw there, is giving us a boon, and this is going to give us a lasting effect for this run. When we die, we lose these effects. So, like for instance, we have side hustle. Each time I enter a chamber, the game is made up of rooms, which are called chambers. Again, gain 10 of the money, which is good to have. My cast, which I'll show you in a second, gain some attack speed, or after I dash, I can recover some of the health I just lost. I'm gonna do side hustle because that's actually really good.
The lift, Lord Hermes, sir. Now let's go.
So for anyone who doesn't know, I have a dash, which is nice. I just hit A and I dash. I have just a basic attack, which with this weapon, this is one of many weapons that you can get. And I say many, and I'm not joking. There are a lot of weapons because there's base weapons and then variations on each of them. I have a basic attack, and it's got kind of like a combo that it has there. I have a special, which does that. I could spam it. It's not like it's on a cooldown or anything. So my X on Xbox is my attack, and my Y is my special. And then I have cast, which shoots one of these out. It does a moderate amount of damage, and it shoots one of these crystals, which you can see at the bottom left. I have 3 of them. So I have 3 little crystals that I can shoot out at any given time, and we can get that upgraded as we go.
Each time the prince delves back into the underworld, its ever-shifting chambers realign to frustrate his attempts to perhaps map it out.
That's a perfect
to ensure no one gets out.
Transition
We'll see about that.
From one of the best narrators in the world that this game changes every time you play it. Every room is randomized with enemy types and which rooms come where. You're going to come across rooms that that look familiar. Like you'll understand what this room is usually like and kind of what to expect from it when you enter it. But for the most part, it is procedurally generated every time you make a run, which is really cool. So kind of what you would expect from a roguelike. When you die, you go back and you keep some of the stuff that you had before, but you continue on. And you lose, some of your boons and whatnot. But that way you have a new build every time you go through the game. It's really quite good. The main difference between me playing on PC and me playing on my Xbox that I can tell, and you're going to notice the difference here. Graphically, it's the same because Supergiant has amazingly detailed hand-drawn art that is just incredibly good. But the thing is, my computer loads the game so much faster. So like in between rooms, I'm basically in one room right into the other. Like, so I leave a room and I'm right into the other on the PC. On this, there is a slight delay, and when you load into the game, the loading time can be pretty significant. But keep in mind, I am playing on an Xbox One. If you have a next-gen console, like an Xbox Series X or S or a PlayStation 5, obviously that's not going to be an issue for you, and it's going to look just fine. But outside of that, you can see it looks fine, it plays fine, which is a huge improvement on some other console games. I frankly quite appreciate that it just feels like I'm playing on my computer. And that's like the best compliment you can give performance of a game.
You traveled rather far down there since last we met, my kin, and that means you have dealt incalculable death. I must commend you thus.
Now, each of the different gods have like their own themes, and Ares, as we just got, has things with blade rifts, which are like little circles that go underneath enemies and deal damage, and Doom. So Doom is a curse, and it says after a brief moment, a victim takes a burst of damage. Doom is actually really good. We're going to take that. Which means that now that we have a boon on our special attack, this becomes so much more powerful. As you see there, it'll put a little thing over the head, and then it comes down and does the damage. It's very, very good. It's really nice for taking these guys out. And because our special hits a bunch of enemies all at once, it puts Doom on all of them too. These are fleeting bonuses, and they will give you a bonus for a certain amount of chambers. So like this one, I can restore 10% health every time I enter a chamber. I can deal 50% damage striking undamaged foes, or I can gain a cast for my cast. But that only lasts 6 encounters. I'm going to save my money because none of those are super good for me. As you play the game, you get kind of a feel for what is good for you, what is not, what you may want on an individual run versus another one. Like something that is good on one run may not be good on another for you. If you happen to get like a really good boon right at the start that boosts your casts, and then now your cast is like your primary attack. Like for us here, it's basically our special now. That's going to be the thing doing the most damage because of Doom. But we're weaving in attacks. But if you got like a cast right off the bat, then you may search for stuff for casts.
It's my understanding you've been blessed already by one of my other nephews, Ares. As you can see, not all of us are cut from the same cloth. And thank the fates for that.
And the characters react to who is blessing you and who isn't. Out of all of these, I'm going to take a dash, damages foes in an area, knocks them away.
Let's make some waves.
It's really cool. I'm going to go to the Ares one. The other room there is a shop. You'll, of course, through the process of playing, learn what all the rooms are. Gonna make decisions on this. This is a little mini boss, and our build actually works quite well for this because it shoots out these little dudes, but because we have the special kind of get rid of them easier, this is not going to be very difficult for us. There you go. Easy peasy.
Hello, Lord Ares.
Cast sends a Blade Rift. I like that one. Doom effects deal more damage when applied multiple times, or after using Death Defiance, which saves you from death, deal more damage that encounter. We do have one Death Defiance. It is something that you slowly unlock as you play the game. There's like a mirror back in Zagreus' room that you invest resources into, and that gives you permanent buffs. I think I'm going to do Dire Misfortune. Doom effects deal more damage when applied multiple times. Because then when I use my special like twice in a row, it'll do slightly more damage. It's pretty good. And here's an example of a longer loading time there. It's not bad, but
My subjects wish to have a word with you.
it's higher than you otherwise would get on PC. Outside of that though, like I don't notice any difference. Like I said, I feel like I'm playing on PC. It's great. I want to start over. Like, it's one of those things that I played the game from the start of early access through all the way. And when I saw that it was going to unlock on Game Pass, I was quite happy because I was like, oh, hey, I'm just going to play through the game again. Because I haven't seen what they've done since early access started to the start of the game. Like, how does that affect new players and whatnot?
Enough.
So for me, it's really exciting to start the game over. I am going to take the heal here.
Better.
And for this, we have a Palm of Power, which upgrades one of the boons that we already have, or a Daedalus Hammer. Pro tip, if you see a Daedalus Hammer, go for it. In almost no circumstance do you not take a Daedalus Hammer. It provides a permanent for that run. It goes away after you die. Buff for that particular weapon. You'll see what I mean when we get to that point. I should also mention that while I originally started playing this on Game Pass, I since have been provided a game key by Private Division. So thanks to them for giving me a free key. It was, like I said, I was already playing on Game Pass, but now I don't have to worry about purchasing the game again when it eventually leaves Game Pass in order to keep playing on the console. So you see here, we have like attack. Now this is specific for this weapon. Each Daedalus Hammer changes whatever weapon you're using. So if you're using the bow, it'll be different things here. So my attack deals bonus damage equal to 5% of my current Charon's Obols, which actually is really good. I don't think I've ever seen that. That's really nice. Thrust attack deals 200% damage and has a 40% crit chance. That's pretty good. Special hits a wider area and deals 20% damage. Now, as you know, we kind of have a special thing going on at the moment, so having Supernova will allow us to hit a really big area and put Doom on everything. It's really, really good. I'm going to unlock the keys. Now, this is a decision that you'll learn as you play. Darkness is nice to have because that's what you invest into the mirror, which gives you permanent buffs. But the keys are going to help you unlock things like weapons. And because there's a particular weapon I'm looking for, I want to unlock as many weapons as possible. So I'm trying to get the whatchamacallit, the keys in order to do that. There also ends up becoming a shop later on where you can trade things out. So like if you have an excess of darkness, which is the material you use in the mirror, or even excess keys or anything like that, you can trade them out to gain different resources, and that changes every time you go back to the House of Hades. So once you die, you go back and you know you can go to that vendor and be like, yo, what do you have? And oftentimes it's like random trades that aren't really that worth it, and then every now and again you find a really good one and you're like, cool, I'm gonna swap out a bunch of these resources because it's something I need at the moment. It's pretty cool. The reason this game is so good, and obviously I've had a long time to think about this after publishing 212 or whatever I said videos. I don't remember off the top of my head how many it was.
Fine day to you as well there, mate. Now let's have a look at your supply, shall we?
So the reason it is so good is because it marries so many different things
Just tidying up a bit.
into the game and does them so excellently. This is able to buy us a random boon, and we have plenty of gold to do it.
I'll take this.
Glad you're still in one piece.
Oh, and we got Artemis. I actually like Artemis.
One thing I'll say for Charon there, he doesn't talk too much. And since neither do you, I'm letting you have this.
Artemis is focused on critical chance. So like this one, attack is stronger and it's a 15% chance to deal crit damage. Or cast seeks a foe, 10% chance to deal crit damage. Or all damage you deal has a chance to be critical. That's okay for us. It's a 2% chance to crit, which isn't very high. I'd rather get the extra attack damage and then upgrade our special doom. So our special doom is now going from 60 damage to 100, which is a lot. That's a big upgrade. So now anytime we put doom on a target, it's going to do 100 damage plus whatever extra that we do by casting special again on them. Another long loading screen, but it's to be expected because we're going into a boss fight.
Hi, Meg.
You crossed the river of flame. You really did it.
That Hydra was a total bastard, though. Bastards. But you sound practically impressed with me there, Meg. I feel so flattered.
You'll soon feel something else. I don't know how you did it, but it changes nothing.
Okay, so let's beat Meg. She's the first boss. Well, technically the Furies are the first boss, but I'm not going to spoil that for you. You'll know what I mean when you get to the point that it makes sense. But the thing is, this game marries so many different ideas perfectly. First off, you have the gameplay. The gameplay is so solid, but Supergiant kind of knows what they're doing on that one. They made Bastion, they made Transistor, they made Pyre, and all three of those games have an action component to it, and they've nailed it ever since Bastion anyway, so it's just good. It's just good, right? Secondly, they marry story with all of that. And as you could tell, so far, it's kind of like a visual novel, in a way, which is something they learned from Pyre. A game I do suggest playing if you have never done so. It's quite good. It's different, but it's quite good. And because they have this like visual novel style going on with these characters, you get pretty interesting little dialogue sequences. And throughout the game, you grow to know these characters quite well, such as like Achilles, for example, who's back at the House of Hades, and you end up helping him out and doing a bunch of stuff for him. Or Orpheus is also back at the House of Hades. You get to know all the gods like Zeus and Ares, as you saw earlier, or Poseidon, and they all have their own little stories. It's really, really good. The third thing they marry very well, which you could tell just by looking at the game, is the visuals. The game is gorgeous. It's beautifully drawn, and Gen Z, the main artist at Supergiant, has done a phenomenal job once again animating, or not animating, but making the game look like a graphic novel. It's really cool. The final thing they do very well is they do music very well. Darren Korb, who's been with them since the beginning, has kind of crushed it once again with music. It's kind of like a operatic metal kind of hybrid, and it's really good, as you can tell. Do we want any of these upgrades? I think I do. I think I'm going to take the life one here. Restore 10% life when I enter a chamber for the next 3 chambers. So I'll restore 30% life. The thing with this one, so this is in between zones. I'm going from Tartarus, and I'm going to go to Asphodel. And in between the zones, you have an option of purging a boon. I'll explain why you want to do that in a moment, but it allows you to sell one of them for gold. Let's look at this.
The path from Tartarus is finally laid bare. Far above, the heat from Phlegethon, the river of flame, is faintly felt already, even as its dangers lie in wait.
Lovely. I'll just go on up. Clear.
So the reason you might want to get rid of a boon is because, I mean, you can only have a certain amount of boons. You can have a lot of boons, but what I mean by this is you can only have 1 attack boon.
Love that sulfur smell.
And 1 special boon and 1 cast boon. So once you come up with a build and you're like, ooh, I really like Doom being on my special because it's applying the Doom effect to everything, and then they're taking a bunch of damage after, a second. And I really want that on my attack, and I keep getting Artemis for everything else. You could potentially sell your attack boon to try to get a Doom boon on your, from Ares on your attack. So that's one of the reasons you would want to do it. But it also opens up the possibility of getting different gods to come in and, bless you that you may not be able to. What I mean by this is this is perfect timing for this purging thing to pop up. What I mean by this is if I have Poseidon blessing my dash, and I have Ares blessing my special, and I have Artemis blessing my attack, you know, I'm not going to get any more of those. Because if I get a cast, let's say I get Poseidon again doing the cast, then I'm not going to see any new gods popping up. They're not going to give me Dionysus or anything like that. Because it's going to try to give me additional boons that buff the effects I already have. So I will see more Artemis, more Poseidon, and more Ares for this run. So by purging a boon of one of the gods that you may only have one benefit from, it's possible to see a different god in that room. So if you really want a Dionysus, which is like the god of revelry, if you want him and Ares, for example, then that might be a good way to try to make a build like that work. So while it seems random, the first few times you play through the game, maybe the first few hours, you start kind of picking up on these notes.
The perfect gift.
And you start realizing you actually have quite a lot of control over your builds. Oh, this is really an interesting example of things to pop up here. So we have a shop. I could go buy stuff from Charon. Or I could go and get 2 boons. So I'm not just getting 1. I can get an Ares boon and an Artemis boon, which is quite strong. Especially considering some of the gods have duo boons, which coincide with each other, but they're rare to get, and you kind of have to have a bunch of the boons already from both of the gods. Doing this is gonna piss somebody off, and while it's more narrative than anything else, we're gonna anger Artemis because kind of like Ares. So Doom effects deal more damage, but take a half second longer to activate. Actually, this is quite good for us. This is perfect because we want it to take longer to activate so we can get the buff on it, which is going to be then buffed by the 60% extra boon damage, or doom damage rather.
What made you think I'd stand for this from you?
So she's not happy about this, and the effect is that she's going to give some kind of bonus. So you see the little areas there coming down. So she's giving a bonus to the enemies on this one, and it makes the encounter a little bit harder, but that's at the cost of getting 2 boons in one room. It's really, really good. I highly suggest getting these rooms if you ever have one pop up. It's more difficult. You got to kind of consider sometimes like who you want to deal with in a room. I particularly don't like dealing with Aphrodite. She shoots these little hearts at you, and it's really, really annoying. So usually I accept whoever else is in the double room there first.
Well, Zachary,
Or rather, I accept her first.
You need all the help that you can get, so here's a pity boon for you.
Oh, thanks, pity boon. Critical effects deal even more damage to armor. Critical effects deal more damage, or cast gets crit damage. I don't mind that. I think that I'm just gonna go with clean kill. I'm not really using my attack much, which is the one that has the crit effect on it. So I'm not too worried about that.
Off we go.
But I am excited to get more Doom stuff going. Or anything from Ares, so that's like what we're trying to do here. Oh, this is a really annoying, as you can tell, little side boss, mini boss. These mages just have so many projectiles. Now this is a pretty easy room when you have boons that deflect, which you can get, and give your attacks the ability to deflect, which you absolutely wreck these mages when you can do that, because you just deflect their things back at them and deal a bunch of bonus damage. But when you don't, as you can tell, take a lot of damage. Oh, here's kind of a cool thing. I'm gonna give Ares a gift, and in return, he's gonna give me an item.
Lord Ares, please accept this offering for giving me such strength as necessary to succeed.
You are a flatterer, my death-inflicting kin. And I am feeling generous as well, so here. A small token for you of my affection.
So we just got
Thanks, Lord Ares.
a blood-filled vial, which is pretty cool.
In the name of Hades.
I'll explain that in a moment. Attack, special, and cast deals 16% more damage. After using Death Defiance, we do more damage, or cast sends a Blade Rift. I think I'm just going to go ahead and go with this one and get that extra damage. Now, by gifting things to people, you get a keepsake, which is a permanent item that you can choose at the beginning of a run, and then if you get an upgrade later on, you can choose it in between areas as well. You can switch keepsakes. This one, I believe, is from Achilles. Now, it allows me to take minus 25% damage from the front, but I take 10% extra damage from the back. It upgrades, so as we do more rooms, it is going to slowly increase in power. It's currently at 2 stars, but it can go all the way up to 3 stars. It's very nice to have these little things. There's a bunch of different ones. The ones from the gods, so like the ones Ares just gave us, for example, are going to increase the chance of getting Ares, which is nice. You can kind of target a build. Like I said, once you get kind of further into the game, you start realizing that you actually have quite a lot of control over your builds. There's still some randomness involved, but you know, you're able to kind of target what build you want to go for. So,
Good enough to eat.
ooh, special inflicts doom. I can get up to 128 damage, or I can get the bonus damage up to plus 80%. Super good. That's really good. Almost 100% extra damage. Ooh, we're gonna go with. You know what? Yeah, we're gonna go with Hermes, because Hermes has the option of giving you increased attack speeds or activation speeds. So like he can make my special attack faster, which is important because like if you look at it, there's a brief moment after I've started the attack that you're kind of locked into it, which leaves you vulnerable, and that's not good. But if you get him to upgrade that to have an increased attack speed on it, then that vulnerability moment is much smaller, and you're more likely to be able to dodge damage.
It's Hermes. Olympus, I accept this message.
After taking damage, quickly dash to recover some of the health you just lost. Dash. After you dash, you briefly become sturdy and move 100% faster. Yeah, I like that one actually quite a lot. It gives you a small little boost, but it makes up
What's in the well this time?
makes up for a lot, in my opinion. Where do
Yeah,
we get that? We have so much money on this one because of the side hustle that we got right at the beginning. So here's something to consider. Is I'm on up in the top right corner. You can see I'm in chamber 22. I believe it's chamber 23 or 24 that I'm at the next boss. So in this case, because this lasts 6 encounters, I'll take that because I know that I'm going to be coming across armor that I'm going to have to deal with. The reason I say that is the yellow bar that you see on enemies is armor, which prevents them from being crowd controlled, which kind of sucks. Honestly, you want to be able to knock people back. So we're going to get this, but this is leading into the next boss. We'll see how well I do here. I have a pretty good build for it. You'll see why. And it's not something I'm intentionally going for. I was just kind of going with what I thought was good and then going from there. We got our Bone Hydra, which honestly, you do kind of want to stay away from because he does this little thing. And it becomes significantly more deadly as you go. Also, later on, his rune will change, so this little method of hiding won't work, and you're just going to have to get good at avoiding stuff like that. You have quite a lot of interchanging stuff as far as boss fights are concerned, which is why I'm okay with showing you the second boss and the first boss, because these are just the first iterations of these bosses that you're going to come across. And you're going to find that later on, you will fight significantly different versions of them, and I think that's really good. It keeps the game fresh for a long time, which is why I have over 200 episodes published. It kept me very interested for quite a long period of time. We still have a death to fight, so we shouldn't die on this boss fight, but, you know, we still might. So we're pushing him into the next phase, which is going to give a bunch of Hydra heads, which is definitely something we want to deal with. So having these two stacked up is perfect for us. We're going to do the same thing over here on these two. We're going to take care of 2 at a time, essentially, because we have to build for it, which is what I was trying to allude to earlier, which is Hydra, if you have a good AoE build, it's going to make things easier. I may go down and proc my Death Defiance. And there's a slight amount of, well, I'm 1 HP, a slight amount of frame rate drops here, which is the first time I've really noticed it, but it's something I'm pointing out because it's not something I usually notice on PC. Oh, there goes our death. Yeah, I saw it coming beforehand. But we're back up to 63 health, giving us an opportunity to get in here, do some free damage before he shoots this out. Normally I'd be playing a little bit more careful.
Any more heads you'd like chopped off?
And we get ourselves a diamond, which you gain bounties every time you kill a boss with a weapon for the first time with that weapon. So you can gain a bunch of stuff easily with that. And later on, they have a dynamic difficulty system, which is adjusted based on a resource you'll start getting called heat. And you can invest heat into modifiers on enemies, making them more difficult, giving them like a shield that you have to break through in order to do damage to them, or increasing their movement speed, stuff like that. And this is nice because it gives you more rewards. It keeps the game fresh and different, and it's just really nice for dynamically changing the difficulty the way you see fit. And I think that's really, really good. Now, one thing I will say is I am not going to show you the next area, because if you are a person who's never played Hades, I think you owe it to yourself to play through this game. It's fantastic. I will say that there are 4 areas in total. You've seen 2 of them. You haven't seen the last 2. Well, technically there's 5, but that you'll see as you play through the game. It's fantastic. The story actually unfolds in a really cool and interesting way, and it's going to grip you. And you should be able to enjoy the gameplay all the way through, because it remains solid 10 out of 10. It constantly is engaging you in new ways. But with all that being said, thank you guys for watching. Go play this game on Game Pass. Seriously, you have no excuse not to play Hades now. It's available on, you know, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, PC. Heck, it'll be available on, I don't know, your phone next. Who knows? I have no idea if they're doing that, but it feels like that would be a good fit. But with all that being said, we shall see you guys next time.